Welcome to my presentation. My name is Michal Hrušecký, and in CZNIC, I'm responsible for the Turris project. I hope that you all know what Turris project is all about, but just a brief reminder. What we are doing is we are manufacturing open source Wi-Fi routers with some focus on security. We have some nice security-related features. We have plenty of updates. We have fully open source software. And we are pretty extensible. And I'm doing this kind of presentations for some time already. And I'll be honest, when I was preparing this presentation, I took a look at what I did last year. And I tried to adapt it and see what changed, basically. And the first thing that I was presenting last year was that we came up with integration of LTE into our routers, and that we were working on web user interface to make it easier to manage your LTE. And yeah, we released LTE just before the Linux days. I think it was something like September, and we were still polishing some stuff through the year. I think we polished it nicely. And what we did this year is we upgraded it a little bit. So nowadays we have 5G. It took us some time. We were experimenting with 5G cards that were available at the market. We were trying to figure out what we can use, and there was plenty of cards that were usable and that were working. They had other downsides, like they were more expensive than our router. And if you know us, you know that we are not the cheapest one on the market. And when we started experimenting with 5G, the price of this card was basically twice the price of the router. So it wasn't working, but in the end, we finally found a card that was working and actually costs less than our router. Yeah, I'll be honest, it's still not super cheap, but yeah, now it kind of makes sense to use it, and the difference compared to LTE card is tremendous. When I was trying it for the first time, I put it in. It took me a little time to get to 5G connection. But when I got there, I ran some speed tests, and I found out that I was doing 100 megabits up and down all the time. So I found out that my SIM card has a limit on ISP side for 100 megabits. Then I got a different card and got even higher. So these speeds now are much more reasonable than what we could get on LTE. So, yeah, LTE backup was something that you could use, and it made sense that in case that your main connection goes down, you have at least something, and you can at least send emails. With 5G backup, you might not even notice that your main line went down. So yeah, this is some little accessory that you could get for your Turris. There is one downside. We are making those routers for quite some time, and the box is quite small, and number of antennas needed are growing. So unfortunately, the 5G upgrade kit that we are selling is not compatible with Wi-Fi 6 Omnias, because Wi-Fi 6 Omnias needs 4 antennas, 5G kit needs 4 antennas, and When we were introducing Wi-Fi 6, we found a place to make 2 extra holes, so we could place the antennas there, but we were unable to find 2 more nice places where to put extra holes. So if you want to mix Wi-Fi 6 and 5G, you would need 8 antennas in total, thanks to our duplexers. Otherwise, it would be 10. And the case is pretty small, so it's hard to put it there. So we decided that we will support 5G upgrade kit only on Omnia routers without Wi-Fi 6 that has up to 3 antennas. So in the end, you will get a total of 7 antennas that we believe that we can manage. Now, that was just an add-on. Now to something that you probably were asking about on the booth and were excited about last year. Turris Omnia Enterprise. Last year, I was telling you how everything looks promising and how everything is going smoothly and everything is great. And I jinxed it. And basically, it didn't go that well afterwards. So yeah, I have almost the same slide. I just changed the years. What happened is that we found a problem, and we were unable to solve it for a really long time. We had a trouble with getting RAM working, and we tried multiple things, and everything seemed fine. And yeah, if something is not working, and you find that something is broken, you can try to fix it. But the tricky part is if it is not working, and everything you measure and verify looks fine. So it requires some time to get somebody else to look at it with fresh eyes and try to figure out what we haven't tried to measure and verify yet. So it took us a long time and quite some low-level debugging, but finally we found something that is not right and that we can fix. And we are working on new prototypes, and hopefully we found the core cause, and we will be able to fix it. And if we will manage that, we will again release it next year. Because the tricky part is with all this hardware, once you have a working prototype, it's not like you can start selling the devices next day. You still need to buy all the parts and manufacture everything, and this process takes months, at least. So yeah, we hope that we will get a new prototype, that everything will be working this time, and we will be able to ship it next year. So what we were doing in the meantime, when we were trying to get inspiration where to look next for the errors, Omnia NG. Yeah, because our hardware guys had all the work done, and from time to time we needed something to measure. Last year I was telling you that we will work on some new device that will be less beefy than Omnia Enterprise, and that means more affordable. But it will be still successor to the Omnia. So we have some idea what the specification will be. We are working on prototype. I wouldn't tell you how it is going, and I wouldn't tell you how far we are. I don't want to jinx it this time. So this is something that we are working on. We again hope to release it next year. Basically, yeah, we need to refresh our current Omnia a little bit. As you see, it has a bigger case, so there will be place for 2 more antennas. That's our current problem, but also it will be 64-bit ARM, have 10 gigabit ports and stuff like that. This specification still might change. Well, we might decide to ditch some of those features in favor to price. Or, well, we're probably not going to boost it more. But yeah, it should be still upgrade over the current Omnia. And hopefully coming next year. So that was the hardware part, but I said that we are also doing the software. So last year I was telling you that we are working on Turris OS 7, and there is plenty of work that we need to do to release it. We released it, and now we are working on Turris OS 7.1. It doesn't look that great, like the number didn't change that much. But there is actually one important change that we were polishing. It's actually down there. But I will start from the beginning. Basically, what we did with Turris OS 7 is that we, for the first time, used staged updates. So basically, we divided our routers into groups, and we were updating each group every day. And that way, yeah, if you were unlucky, you had to wait 2 weeks to get Turris OS 7. If you were lucky, you got it on the first day. This is something that we did to make sure that if there is some serious issue, that we wouldn't impact everybody. And also to raise some expectation and make you anxious about getting updates. And so you will go and start using testing branches. We will get to that. So we used it successfully with Turris OS 7. We were using it for the minor releases since then. Sometimes we a little bit messed up. Like for small releases, we have option to specify the time frame in which we want to release. Sometimes we were too cautious or forget that we have to override it to release it faster, and it took more time to deploy than was necessary, but it was working. So we plan to release 7.1 with stage updates again. What will be there? There will be some Reforest changes. Reforest is our web user interface, as you might know, and there is a lot of things that we changed under the hood in the framework and stuff like that. But we did most of it because we needed one really cool feature, and that's a dark mode. So with 7.1, you will have a dark mode, not only in Reforest, but in also all our web apps that are developed by us, and the front portal and stuff like that. So that's something to be looking forward to. And there will be also one thing that we were afraid of and spent quite some time testing, and that is that we are going to switch firewall backend from IP tables to NF tables. OpenWRT did it, but yeah, one of our key promises is updates all the time without having to reinstall and reconfigure everything. So we have to test the migration path and make sure that it will work and wouldn't leave you open. So we think that we have it quite okay polished. There are a few drawbacks. Well, there's actually one drawback and plenty of features, plenty of advantages. The drawback is that if you had some hackish IP table scripts that you were using, they will no longer work. But one cool feature about NF tables is that, well, in OpenWRT, if you did your firewall setup in Lucy interface and UCI, then everything will still work. And cool thing is that it helps us a lot with integration of Turris Sentinel, because it's treating IPv4 and IPv6 the same. So we no longer have to specify separately IPv4 firewall and IPv6 firewall, and we can handle both those same way. Back when we started with our project, we had our security program when we were collecting data about attacks on people. And back then we were collecting both IPv4 and IPv6, and we were even evaluating amount of traffic going into IPv4 and IPv6 and stuff like that. But in the end, we realized that IPv6 attacks over IPv6 were negligible back then. And when we rewrote it to Turris Sentinel, this original project, we went kind of lazy and didn't put that much effort into IPv6 support, because, as I said previously, in OpenWRT, with IP tables, you had to do basically different setup for IPv6, and IPv6 was treated a little bit differently in OpenWRT, and it wasn't that easy to do port forwarding and stuff like that. So it was a lot of effort that we would have to invest, and back then the gain was little. Now we have it for free, so that's great. So we are going to start collecting information about IPv6 attacks again, starting with 7.1. And yeah, we will be looking at how the attackers look like. In IPv6, one of the features that we have is dynamic firewall, where we collect information about attackers, and when we see an attacker, we are blocking his IP. On IPv4, it's IP. On IPv6, we will be blocking /64. And yeah, basically, we need to get this release out there and see the data. And we are also thinking similar to not as we saw in the last presentation, we are also thinking about blocking bigger network segments like 56, because yeah, if you are at home, you got 56. So if you have a device that is running wild in your network, it can potentially use any of those 56. Sometimes, if you are lucky, you might get 48. So we might go to blocking 48 if we see a lot of malicious traffic going from there. We will see how the data will look like and how to set up the thresholds. That's some consideration for the future. I see that you don't like it. I have it at home.
Sorry, could we wait to the end of the presentation?
Okay,
We'll
so the question wasn't about Turris, but about adoption of IPv6, and basically Maria was saying that she would like to have a /56. Yeah, I have 56 at home. And yeah, I checked when I was writing this presentation just to make sure that it wasn't 48. So Turris OS 8 is coming. It's actually our main focus nowadays. There is OpenWRT 2305. We are testing it. It looks promising, but in current nightly we found something broken, so we need to fix it a little bit. 7.1 we put out there for community to test. And we are still retesting it, making sure that everything works, but it's almost ready. We thought about releasing it today into RC, but in the end we chickened out because somebody reported that something is wrong. We have to double check. We don't want to rush it. So on Turris OS 8, we are working on it right now, and it will go to HBL quite soon. Turris OS 9 we haven't looked seriously at yet, but it's coming. OpenWRT is going to fork 24 something soon. They already started talking about it. It should be 24 something, so by the end of the year, it should be forked. And this is something that we will look at eventually, but one of the interesting things is that it's going to be kernel 6.6. And as I was saying at the beginning, we are planning some new devices for the next year. So those new devices always work better with newer kernels. So we might be actually forced to release Turris OS 9 soon to get support for our new devices. And now comes the answer for the question. Our Turris Zoo, as an end user, you can give a try to one of our testing branches. We have 5 of those. You can just go to the command line, write a switch branch, and pick your favorite animal. They are from least dangerous to the most dangerous. And this is the current status, what Turris OS version is there. As you can see, there are several branches that are the same. We have 703 in 2 of those because we are actually in process of moving 7.1 to our testing releases, and we will be moving soon 8.0 to our less dangerous testing releases. Well, still more dangerous than the RCs. So that's what's coming. If you are interested in what's going on, help us test the NFTables integration and let us know before we send it to you anyway. And if something doesn't work, remember our routers has one cool feature. Well, they have plenty of cool features, but one cool feature that can help you with the testing. We always do snapshots before you upgrade. So if something doesn't work, and if you be the most adventurous one and go to 8.0 and something doesn't work, with press of the button, you can revert back to your stable state and continue working. That's all. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask now or come to our booth and talk to us. Yeah.
Hi, Michal. Thank you for the presentation. Please, could you share what was the root cause of the issues with Turris Enterprise, Turris Omni Enterprise?
Well, it was a hardware issue, and it was really complicated, and it was hidden somewhere in, yeah. I probably can't explain it that well, but I can tell you what we tried. We even tried a high-speed oscilloscope and tried to look at the signal that is coming to the RAM modules, because it has modules, RAM on modules, and even that signal looked fine. But then through some detailed analysis, we found out that there might be some errors on the way between the CPU and the RAM modules that were not visible on the high-speed oscilloscope.
So the issue was between CPU and the RAM modules, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have a lot of time, so one more question.
I'd like to ask what's the status of supporting the Turris 1 models, the original.
Okay, so what's the status of supporting Turris 1? We still support it. That's our oldest device, I think 11 years ago. We released those. We still support them, we still release updates for them. It's getting harder and harder, I'll be honest. The main issue that we have with those devices is that they have a limited amount of storage that can be solved by using micro SD card. Once you do that, you can still receive updates. We have some limitations, like, as it is a weird architecture, Go is not working there, Golang. I'm not sure about Rust. And this list will get longer, so not all new features will be supported there, but if it will be technically possible, we are still going to support it. And actually, it was working on 8.0 not so long ago.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michal.
Thank you.